Hey man, are you interested in being a Grammy Award winning mixing engineer? Or maybe you just want to increase your skills so that you can be an artist who records themselves. Maybe you got a podcast you're thinking about starting. Whatever your reason for joining the audio engineering journey, you're in the right place. Let's get it. What's up YouTube? Welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel. I'm Wavy Wayne from Wayne.wav, and this channel is all about helping you to record and mix better and faster. Now this is the first video in a new series called Audio Engineering 101, a beginner's guide. Now my whole point in doing this video series is to introduce anybody who wants to join the world of audio engineering into what audio engineering does, the importance of audio engineering, where you might find audio engineers, some of the tools and techniques that audio engineers use, and all of the little important, exciting things that we must know as audio engineers. So if you are down to increase your skills as an audio engineer, to learn more about the career field of audio engineering, then you are in the right place with this video series. Make sure that you hit subscribe to tap in so you don't miss any of these videos. Audio engineers are found everywhere. That includes music, podcasting, television, film, video games, even little sounds that you might hear on a refrigerator or a car. Every single audible recorded sound that we hear, an audio engineer somewhere, somehow has something to do with that. So let's take a look at what exactly is audio engineering. I like to define audio engineering as the art and science of recording, editing, and mixing audio. Now, I call it an art and a science because audio engineers need to bring an artistic expression to the work that they do, but there also is a science behind it. There are clear and hard, fast rules that we must follow as audio engineers. I often tell my students that it's a craft, right? You're not just an artist, you're a craftsman. So think about a craftsman who's building furniture. If I were to say, hey, I'm gonna build you a chair. Now, the materials that I choose to build that chair out of, I can choose any materials. The style, the color, I can get real fancy. It could be a love seat, it could be a wooden chair, office chair. All of that is up to my artistic expression. But the function of the chair needs to be standard. You need to be able to sit in it and not hit the floor. So I think about that every time that I'm working on a project as an audio engineer. Yes, I can bring my own artistic vision to the table, but once the people sit down at that table, they better be able to actually sit there and not fall on the floor, you know? So the music needs to be artistic, or whatever it is, whether it's a podcast, whatever the audio is, it needs to be artistic and creative, but we need to make sure that we stay within certain parameters and guidelines to ensure that everybody has an enjoyable listening experience. The quality of audio engineering can really define the quality of the project itself. So for example, if you have a great songwriter and they come to you and record it, maybe they have some great melodies, some great lyrics, but the recording is subpar, you know, it's just not really clear on the recording, the mixing itself is not really good, that can really put a stamp on the quality of that song. Think about a movie. If you heard a movie, maybe y'all remember the days when we used to get the bootleg movies and the audio would just be terrible. It would really bring the whole experience down so many levels because the audio just sucked. So really understand that the audio engineer plays a huge role in defining the quality of the overall project. As an audio engineer, you have so many responsibilities and so many tasks. Nowadays, our hats, we have to wear like 10,000 hats as an audio engineer. So let's just walk through a typical day as a studio engineer. Right? Before the client gets there, if you're going to be doing some recording, you're going to want to set up, right? And before that, even, you would have to buy the proper equipment, including the computer, your software, your speakers, microphones, mic stands, cables. You would have to buy all that stuff, learn about all of the acoustics, and then once you get all that background stuff set up, then you got to show up to the session early, set up everything, test everything, be ready to troubleshoot when problems arise. That's one of the biggest things that I find audio engineers need to know and understand is troubleshooting, how to fix problems when they arise, because problems in the studio just happen to follow us. And like, man, I'm an audio engineer, where's the problems? So beyond our technical abilities as audio engineers and getting everything technically correct, we also have to be there and work the nuances of the situation. So whether that's working in a live sound venue where we have to work with the artist to make sure that their sound is the way that they want to be perceived in front of the audience, or working in the studio and being sure that we are able to communicate, even as wearing a producer hat as an audio engineer, which happens so much nowadays, that we need to be able to communicate to artists how to give their best performance and also set the environment so that it's conducive to a great performance as we are recording. Then we got to take that recording and do some mixing, right? That's to take all the elements that we've now recorded and find ways to balance them and to create and enhance the emotional feeling of whatever was recorded. If you're working in post-production, you have a huge task of taking all of the sounds that may be seen on film and bringing them into reality. Ultimately, our jobs is to take an artist or producer's vision and make it a sonic reality that is pleasing to everyone. And again, there will be problems that arise. So the more technical expertise you have, the more quickly you can suss out and troubleshoot these problems as they start to come up. There could be problems with frequencies clashing in a mix. It could be problems with the equipment not functioning as it should. All of these things are the job and responsibilities of the audio engineer, so we got to be prepared. Now, as beginners, you don't need to go out and buy a whole bunch of gear, but there is some basic essential equipment that every beginning audio engineer needs to have. First, you're gonna need a computer. Most audio is recorded, edited, and mixed all in the digital realm nowadays. So unless you're planning to be an old school tape op engineer, then you're definitely gonna need a computer. Now, we can get off into the specs and stuff like that, but just buy the best, most robust computer that you can. All right. Next thing you're gonna want to think about is microphones, right? Depending on the types of recording that you're going to be doing, if you're going to be doing recording, think about the type of microphones you need. And those could span from dynamic microphones like this broadcast microphone that I'm talking into right now, a Shure SM7B. It could be condenser microphones, which are great for vocals and singing and acoustic guitars. It could be ribbon microphones. It could be a whole plethora of different style microphones depending on what your application is. After that, you're going to want to consider how you're going to connect that microphone to your computer. And as audio engineers, we use a device called an audio interface. Audio interfaces come in many varieties depending on the types of inputs that you need, or how the number of inputs that you need. If you're going to be recording 2 mics at a time, 4 mics at a time, 1 mic at a time, if you're going to be using other pieces of gear. So audio interfaces can get really complex. So I would just say buy the interface or shop around for interfaces that fit what you need to do with it. Another huge part of audio engineering is going to be monitoring. You're gonna need to listen, and of course a pair of headphones is going to be crucial, if not 2 pair. We're gonna need a pair of headphones, if not anything else. Now, of course, a good pair of studio monitors will come in handy later down the line once you really get into mixing, but as you are really capturing your sounds and starting to understand the world of audio engineering, a pair of closed back headphones like these Wavy One isolating studio headphones will do you wonders. They will save your audio from leaking out into your microphone, but also provide you a clear, accurate picture of what it actually is that you're listening to. I think about our monitoring situation as like a video director would see a screen, right? If you wouldn't want to just have like this little 13-inch black and white while you're trying to shoot this 4K movie, you want to have the best most brilliant screen that you can possibly have so that you can see every little detail and make the correct decisions throughout your creation process, whether that's recording, editing, mixing, whatever it is. We want to be able to see things and hear things as they are. So having a good pair of headphones or a great pair of monitors will really be crucial for that. Now, of course, all of this gear that I'm talking about and even more gear, including the interfaces and studio monitors, we're going to cover these in a lot more detail later in this series. Let's take a second to talk about the workspace that you might be in, whether that's a home studio, project studio, a commercial studio. Let's just first talk about how they all need to be, no matter what, no matter where it is. A few guidelines need to be followed. For one, the space needs to be acoustically damp, right? It can't be very reverberant. So if you're in a huge room that is like, you know, very echoey, got a lot of hard surfaces, then you're gonna want to think about some acoustic treatment. And that's gonna go whether you're just recording or mixing audio, because as you are recording, all of the reflective hard surfaces, that stuff will get into your microphone and be almost impossible to remove later in post-production, later in the mix. You'll be having such a hard time removing it, whereas you're better off having a more dampened, acoustically treated, absorptive room to record in, a dead room versus a live room to record in, because you can always add reflections later with like reverbs and delays and stuff like that. We can always add those reflections, but again, it's gonna be super hard to take them out. It's also good to just think about the layout of the space that you're going to be in. So if you're going to be working in a home studio, you want to find a very quiet place in your home so that you're not interrupted with outside noise, maybe from traffic or other people in your home. You want to have that isolated. You also want to be able to get rid of any noise from fans and air conditioners and stuff like that. So really strategically think about where it is that you're going to place your workstation and start building. And let's just keep in mind that we are going to evolve our workspaces and our setups and our gear over time. A lot of us, like myself, started in my bedroom, where my only absorptive acoustic material in that room was the bed. I would have my laptop sitting on a little table and I would be working off the side of the bed. If that's your situation, that's perfectly fine. Get started with where you are and what you have, and as your skills increase, as your needs increase, then you can later work to improve your working environment. Okay, y'all, so now we are starting to get a taste that the world of audio engineering is super important. It's super in depth. It's been close to me my whole life. It doesn't matter how you got into audio engineering or what you're planning to do with audio engineering. A lot of y'all probably were artists like myself and determined, hey man, studio time is too expensive. I need to get off into recording and mixing myself. Maybe that's your story. Maybe you are initially just drawn to the world of audio engineering and you like the technical aspects of tinkering with things, man. This series is going to help to introduce you to all that audio engineering has to offer, including the next series. Next time that we meet up, it's part 2 of this series, we'll be talking about understanding sound, how sound is created, how sound works in rooms, understanding amplitude, understanding frequency spectrum, and a whole lot more. If you're not already subscribed to this channel, make sure that you click that subscribe button and turn the notifications on. Save this playlist so that I can teach you everything that I know about audio engineering. I'm Wavy Wayne from Wayne.wav.com. I'm here to help you record and mix better and faster. Be dope.